Hello everyone, my name is Katie and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are ranking Megadeth studio albums. So Megadeth is one of my favorite bands of all time. I've been listening to them since I was about 14 years old and they're just one of those classic favorites of mine. I've heavily studied their discography, like I know every single song from every album front to back. Like I'm your girl when it comes to Megadeth. I'm not just a thrash Megadeth fan either. I do like some of their other stuff that is a little less thrashy. Except for Risk. We'll get there. We'll talk about Risk and Super Collider. But yeah, I've really been looking forward to ranking these albums. Let me know in the comments down below what you agree with and what you disagree with, and let's get started. Gotta wet my whistle first. I feel like we're gonna be talking a lot in this video. Hydrate or dihydrate? Before we get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Gothic Jewelry. So Gothic was nice enough to send me a few pieces of their jewelry. They sent me 3 rings that I absolutely adore. It's all my style. They have so many things you can choose from on the website. I love this coffin one. It is absolutely so cool. We have the skeleton hands making a heart shape, which is just so gorgeous. I love it. It's a little more dainty. They have stuff for men, but they also have things for women on the website as well. So you can find whatever you like. And how cool is this skull necklace paired with all this awesome jewelry? We got the awesome skull ring. It really reminds me of like Cliff Burton in the 80s vibes. They have things in different price ranges made of different materials. You got like stainless steel, and then you can get gold and silver. All sorts of things to choose from. So many cool designs, and they were nice enough to give us a 20% off code. So if you go to their website and check out with the code KD20, you can get 20% off your entire order. Sponsors make my dreams of creating content full-time a reality, so thank you so much. Alright, so first let's go over what all of the different tiers mean. I've labeled them myself. So the first one is going to be legendary. These are going to be the albums that I personally love the most. I think they are the staple Megadeth sound. The albums that I could never throw away in the discography. Like if I had to choose my favorite albums, these would be the ones that I would absolutely have to take with me. Next up we have great, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the ones that are not quite legendary but still very remarkable. Not the absolute top of Megadeth's game, but pretty close. Good is the tier that's right there in the middle of the road. It's sort of the ones that I wouldn't say that they're amazing albums, but they're not bad albums. The meh tier is like in my past videos, just the albums that literally made me just say, meh, whatever, could live without them. I wouldn't say that they're absolutely horrible, but could take them or leave them. And then the terrible tier is self-explanatory. These are the albums that I never want to hear again. I feel like it's torture to listen to these albums, and I hate these albums. Alright, so let's jump into the ranking. First, we have Killing Is My Business. I noticed that these albums aren't really in the perfect order, but that's fine. Overall, I really do like the Killing Is My Business album. I really like the title track. I believe this is the album that has Mechanics on it, so it's like the iconic Four Horsemen rewrite or Dave's version, whatever. Honestly, I feel like I could put this between good and great. I feel like it really has a lot of Megadeth's like staple sound, but not quite yet. Like they hadn't fully found themselves as a band yet, but they were getting there. It's pretty thrashy, nice and heavy, which I love. But I think I'm gonna put it in. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I might put it in the great tier. I feel like it's not quite legendary, but it's a solid album all around. Next up is The World Needs a Hero. I don't know what it is, but I have never liked this album. I can't even really think of a song from this album that I like or stands out to me. I don't think it's terrible, but I'm just going to put it in the meh tier because it's very forgettable. Like, I do not ever go out of my way to listen to this album. I think that's the album that has Moto Psycho. Oh my god, for that song alone, I should put it in terrible because I freaking hate that song so much. It's so annoying. I don't know. Something about this one just doesn't do it for me. I don't know if it's Dave's vocals on this one, or I just feel like the writing is lazier. I don't know what happened in The World Needs a Hero. That was just a weird time. Let me know if you like this album, but for me it's meh. Next up is United Abominations. I feel like this is an underrated Megadeth album, and I'm gonna put it in great. I really love this album. This is the album that has Washington Is Next. It has the Atulamon remake with Christina Scabia of Lacuna Coil. It also has, I believe the song is called Sleepwalker, right? Something like that. Skywalker? No, not Skywalker. Luke, I am your father. No, I'm pretty sure it's Sleepwalker or something like that. I like that song. It's a great thrash album all around. Underrated Megadeth album. I see it the same as Killing Is My Business. It's not legendary, but it's really good. Next up is Endgame. Oh, this is gonna be hard. I'm really nostalgic about Endgame. It was kind of, I think it may have came out around the time I first discovered Megadeth, or maybe that was 13, I don't know. But I do remember listening to Endgame a lot back in the day on the school bus on the way to like 8th grade.
I wanna kill my mom. What the? I wanna kill my dad. I wanna kill my grandma.
I'm gonna say it's a good album. I don't really go out of my way to listen to it a lot anymore. Kind of the same as World Needs a Hero, but I do listen to it a little more often. So I'm gonna say in my mind, it's probably right there in the middle. Next up we have 13. Like I said, I am nostalgic about this one. It's that sort of like Megadeth 13 and Metallica Death Magnetic era. Something about that era is big for me. That's when I first really discovered all these classic thrash bands and started to get into that side of music. But without the nostalgia speaking, is it really that great of an album? I'm gonna say it's good. I see it really the same as Endgame. This was like a more modern Megadeth after Marty Friedman and Nick Menza were gone. This is like when they found, it was like Megadeth Part 2, if that makes sense, or Part 3, I don't know. But it was cool and refreshing to have like a little bit different of a sound from them. That whole era of albums, like United, Abominations, Endgame, and 13 all sort of are like jumbled together in my mind, but I'm gonna say United is a little bit better. Oh god. Next we have Super Collider. What the fuck was Dave Mustaine thinking?
Why?
Like, the songwriting on this album is so random and not well.
Terrible, Your Honor. He's really terrible.
It just feels really sloppy. It's kind of experimental, but it's like a failed experiment. I like when bands go out of the box and like try new things, but this was not it for me. It was just a weird album. I hate this album. I'm putting it in terrible. I'm sorry. It is painful to listen to any song from this album. I can't think of a single song on this album that I like. There's one, I'll put the title here, I always forget the name, but there's one that people say, like, justifies this album or makes it a better album. It, like, redeems it. No, that song is terrible too. I try to listen to it, and I hate it. Next we have Dystopia. Okay, so this was from 2016, I believe, when Megadeth, like, Part 3, whatever, with Kiko Loureiro as the guitarist. This is, like, the new Megadeth lineup, modern Megadeth. And it was like, I feel like they took the world by storm a little bit. I feel like Dave proved himself again as a songwriter, as a thrasher. Like, this was a solid thrash album. I love the guitar work from Kiko on this album. He really stands out to me in this modern era of Megadeth. This album had some really good tracks on it too. We had the single Post American World. I love the music video for that. I really, like I said, love this modern era. I like Dave's vocals. People don't really like his modern day vocals because they're like really raspy or whatever, but I like it. I feel like he sounds angry and aggressive, and I feel like they came back with this album faster than they had been since the 90s. I'm gonna say this is a great album. I'm actually gonna put it in front of Killing Is My Business in the great album section. It's not quite legendary to me. Maybe one day it will be, but I just feel like it hasn't really been long enough to be considered legendary. I mean, dang, 2016 was a long time ago now. But yeah, it's great. I go to this album a lot for some of the main tracks, like Dystopia, the title track. Love that album. Next up, we have none other than Peace Sells. But who the fuck is buying?
Can you put a price on peace?
I love this album, but we're gonna put it in terrible.
You need to leave.
Just kidding. We're gonna put it all the way up here in legendary because honestly, this is one of Megadeth's greatest albums of all time. I feel like this was the peak of Megadeth. Nick Menza as the drummer, first of all. Iconic thrash drummer. Not talked about enough, actually. May he rest in peace. Dude, the song composition as a whole is incredible on this album. This is a no-skip album for me. We have songs like The Conjuring, which has one of my favorite riffs of all time. The title track, Peace Sells, with the bass intro is so legendary. That alone is just like, it's like catchy, gets you kind of moving and jumping. We have the iconic Wake Up Dead, which is a really fun Megadeth song. They actually did a remake of that with Randy from Lamb of God. That was really cool. Anyways, what's the other song? Good Morning? I think it's Good Morning / Black Friday. amazing song. Just this whole album is legendary. I think this is going to be the one that people really remember from Megadeth forever. Ooh, next up we have the album that recently reached its 34th anniversary, I believe. We have So Far, So Good, So What. I love this album. Man, it has a lot of my favorite Megadeth tracks of all time. We have Set the World Afire, 502. Isn't there a Paranoid remake on this? No, not Paranoid. Anarchy in the UK.
Anarchy! I don't even know what that means, but I love it!
I love that cover on this album. Honestly, I kind of want to put it in legendary for personal taste, but then again, seeing it next to Peace Sells, I feel like it would have to be in great, and I'm going to put it in front of Dystopia, if that makes sense. It's like the top of the great list, almost legendary. We cannot forget about In My Darkest Hour, the first like Megadeth ballad. It's like this song that Dave wrote about his ex, but he sort of got the inspiration when he was feeling down and sad about Cliff Burton's death. It's like this really emotional song, but a beautiful song. Man, I'm so close to putting that in legendary. Oh my gosh. I feel like we need another tier for this. That's it, guys. I have to absolutely change these tiers. I added another one. I'm gonna make the top one untouchable, and then I'm gonna make this one legendary, and it's literally just for So Far, So Good, So What, because it's definitely between Peace Sells and Dystopia for me. So yeah, Untouchable is gonna be the very top one that I think are like god tier albums. Next up we have Rust in Peace. My absolute favorite Megadeth album of all time. Absolutely untouchable. I'm actually going to put it in front of Peace Sells. I think it beats Peace Sells just by a little bit. Every track on this album is one of my favorite Megadeth tracks. Like, this album as a whole is like my top 10 Megadeth songs, and then we get to other songs from other albums. I love this album. So iconic. I love the inspiration behind like Hangar 18, the whole theory about Hangar 18 out in the desert where there's like this alien and like the government's hiding it.
Allegedly. And
I love that they took that from that song and put it on the album cover. I'm just a big like alien type of person. I like to learn about this stuff, and it always like caught my eye. Like, I always thought the album art alone was really cool. And then all of the songs on this album are bangers. We have Lucretia, which has the 2 guitar solos, or like 11 guitar solos. I don't remember how many, but it has solos from Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman, and I always loved the guitar work on that one. We have the iconic Holy Wars, which is really objectively probably the best Megadeth song of all time. You got a little bit of everything in that song. I think that's like their magnum opus. That's like Megadeth's Master of Puppets, if that makes sense. We have Tornado of Souls, Take No Prisoners, Five Magics, so many iconic Megadeth songs on this album. A lot of people criticize Dave's vocals on this album. They don't like it. It sounds like he's holding his nose. It sounds like Squidward or something. But I love it. I just always really was attracted to that voice, even when I was 14 years old. It just drew me in because, like, you're so used to hearing all these generic and polished voices. It's nice to, like, for once hear a voice that's just different and doesn't care about sounding perfect and has a lot of character to it. Loved that on this album. This album will always be untouchable for me. I have a lot of great memories listening to this album, and that actually brings me to the next one that I have a lot of other great memories listening to. That is Countdown to Extinction.
You try to take us both.
Now, this is a little bit less of a thrash album. This is kind of like the Black Album, but for Megadeth. Like, they sort of became a little bit more rock than metal on this album. Not every track by any means, but a lot of them. But for what it is, it's a really fun, like, hard rock slash a few thrash tracks, I guess. Not even really. I don't know what you would describe this album as, but regardless, it's good for what it is. I'm going to put it in legendary in front of So Far, So Good, So What. This is Megadeth's best-selling album of all time. You cannot listen to a Megadeth catalog or playlist or discography without listening to Countdown to Extinction many times over. It's just a really important album in their history. It's got some of my favorite songs by them of all time. Of course, we have the Symphony of Destruction. Oh my god, I'm so tired of listening to that song because I've been learning it on guitar. I'm just so sick of hearing the same song over and over. but regardless, it's one of their best songs. We got Sweating Bullets, we got Psychotron, which is so fun. I literally dance in the shower to Psychotron. Skin of My Teeth is really good. Foreclosure of a Dream, that is such a catchy song. I feel like this is when Dave got a little bit more tapped into his songwriting skills. I think that's why it was such a successful album. It was focused less on being fast and thrash and more on the composition of the song, the lyrics of the song. It's my favorite vocal work by Dave ever in history. I actually like Dave's vocals more on this album than in Rest in Peace. I just love the character behind it. Sweating Bullets is a great example of how he just went all out and like played a character almost with his voice, and in the music video you kind of see that. Love it. Iconic. Period! Next up we have Youthanasia. So I feel like this was really a good album, but I don't go back to it as much as I want to say that I do, other than Atulaman. I think Atulaman is a beautiful song. Love the music video. One of the best rock ballads ever for me. The lyrics are really emotional. Let's see. Victory is a good song. It's kind of underrated. It has a really good riff. It has Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences. It's a pretty good album, but I'm just going to put it right, well, I'm looking at it now. I don't know if I want to put it in great or good. Man, that's really hard. I'm going to put it in great, but like in front of United Abominations, but behind Killing Is My Business. I've always liked this album. I thought the album art was kind of interesting too.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Very memorable, but like I said, I just don't go back for it that much. Next, we have a really fun album. It's Hidden Treasures. This is mostly like a cover album, and they did a couple of songs. They did a song for like a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie. I always forget. But that Go to Hell song is actually really cool. I always thought it was weird that it uses the same prayer from Enter Sandman, like the nighttime prayer. Those songs came out 11 days apart, by the way. I think Megadeth released it, Go to Hell, and then 11 days later, Enter Sandman came out, and they had the same, like, Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep thing. Either that was a common, like, a shared idea when Dave was in Megadeth and they like never used it until the 90s, or that was just a freaking weird coincidence that just perpetrated more comparisons. I don't know, but I always thought that was weird. Anyways, I do like this album. This is when they covered No More Mr. Nice Guy. They covered Paranoid. Overall, really fun vibes. I feel like this was when Megadeth was just having some fun after, I think it was after Countdown to Extinction, right? Or maybe right before, like the year before. I don't know, but in that era, I feel like Megadeth was like kind of, they were past the thrash stuff a little bit. They were just trying to have some fun. Every band goes through phases like that. This is the album that has 99 Ways to Die on it. I always thought that was like a really underrated Megadeth song. I'm gonna put that in great, in front of Dystopia. I actually really enjoy this album. I listen to it a lot. Isn't this the one that has Angry Again on it? It may or may not be. I cannot remember. But Angry Again is one of the catchiest, most melodic, and just like that main melody is so fun. I like literally dance to it, kind of like I said with Psychotron. So I listen to this album all the time. I have to put it in great. And now let's talk about Cryptic Writings. So this was a non-metal Megadeth album. This was like a mainstream rock, like post Countdown to Extinction. It's kind of like the Metallica Load and Reload era. I keep comparing them to Metallica, but they have very comparable like timelines in their discographies. I love this album for what it is. Like, I am a metal person. Like, I like metal music, but I'll take some good radio rock too if it's done well. I really love Trust. Oh my god, that like intro of Trust, that build up, love it.
So good and tasty.
Beautiful song anyways. It has really cool lyrics, very relatable. Almost Honest is a fun like radio single. I would say my favorite heavier track from this album is She-Wolf. It's one of the metal tracks on this album. So now we have to put it somewhere. I actually don't know where to put it. I would almost put it in Legendary, but it's not quite there. I think the song Trust is kind of legendary, but just that one song. So it's either great. I'm going to put it in great. I'm going to put it behind Hidden Treasures. I love Hidden Treasures. I don't know what it is.
Say my name.
A lot of the songs on this album I just don't ever go back to listen to. It's like half of them I listen to a lot and then the other half are throwaway songs. Oh no, we have to talk about Risk. Risk is the perfect word for this. They took a risk when they released this album. Like I said, it's like the load and reload era. Radio rock attempt, I don't know. I do not like this album. I feel like it is dad rock at its worst. Not the good kind of dad rock, not the fun, quirky kind, the freaking like horrible kind. I don't think I like a single song from this album. I feel like a lot of the songs on this album are really cheesy. Don't come in here with the breadline stuff. Everyone says, oh, what about breadline? I hate breadline. I hate it. I don't like it. And the other song, Crush 'Em, it's also cheesy to me. I don't know. There's a good thing there's cheese on the album cover because it is a cheesy album.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
And they did take a risk. So I'm going to put it in terrible. Do I think Super Collider is worse though? Yes. I'm going to put Risk right in front of Super Collider. Super Collider? Whatever. But I do hate that album. Next up is The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead, the 2022 brand new album. Okay, I actually really liked this album. This like revived Megadeth for me. I was so hyped when they first announced this album with the We'll Be Back music video, and like they released these like short films and it was all hype, and Megadeth was back faster and more aggressive than ever before. We had that same modern lineup from Dystopia. Wait, it may have been a little different. Don't we have a different drummer? I can't even keep up at this point. But we had Kiko. Kiko is like all I care about. I'm so biased.
She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend. And she is the moment.
But regardless, I had that modern Megadeth sound that I was liking with Dystopia. But I feel like they really just crushed it on this one. There's not a single song on this album that I don't like. Some I like more than others. But all around, solid album. I really like Dogs of Chernobyl.
Today, Junior!
Chernobyl. I really like Dogs of Chernobyl. I really like the lyrics and the meaning behind that song. Celebutante is like a little cheesy, but I like the lyrics about like celebrities being vain and caring about their appearance and they're not really who they say they are, blah blah blah. I love like all the really thrashy tracks like We'll Be Back, Night Stalkers, the title track, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. Overall, just great work lyrically on Dave's end, great work musically from all the members of the band. I love the cover of Police Truck. It's a Dead Kennedys cover. Love that cover. So fun. Oh, it's such a perfect album. I'm gonna put it in great, but in the front of great. I think this is Megadeth's best album since the 90s, and it might be legendary one day. It did just come out a few months ago, so it's like not really legend status yet in my mind, but I do really love this album. And last but not least, we have The System Has Failed. Amazing album cover, first of all. This is one of my favorite Megadeth album covers. They've always been so iconic with the Vic Rattlehead stuff. And this was always one of my favorite ones. We got like the politicians in the background and all of that stuff. It really says a lot without saying too much. Love the title of the album. Now when it comes to the songs, I don't find myself listening to this album very often. Unfortunately, I feel that most of this album is throwaway. I like Blackmail the Universe and maybe a couple other tracks, but for the most part, I do not go out of my way to listen to this album very often. I'm going to put it in meh. But I'm going to put it right in front of The World Needs a Hero because I like it just a little bit more, but it's just a forgettable one for me. If it wasn't for that album cover and how iconic and cool that was, I would probably never think of this album. And there we have it. That is my Megadeth studio album ranking. Like I said, let me know in the comments down below how you would rank these albums. What do you agree with and what do you disagree with? Let me know. I love Megadeth, so this might be a completely biased list. I don't really care. But anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for future music related content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! And don't forget to use code KD20 at gothic.com. Thank you. Bye.